Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Beat podcast, hosted here by Health in Las Vegas. I'm so excited to be with Webb Golinkin. He is the president of Babson Diagnostics. Webb has devoted his career to making health information and care more accessible and affordable. As the CEO of 5 healthcare companies over the last 35 years, including 3 he co-founded, he's doing that very well. Webb, such a pleasure to have you here with us.
It's nice to be here. It's been an exciting day at Health.
How's it going for you?
Good. Had a lot of meetings, very productive meetings. There's just such great energy in the halls and all the exhibitors. It's fun. So I've really had a great time and been energized by it.
That's good. I'm glad to hear that. It definitely is one of those meetings. And so let's get into it. Tell us a little bit about Babson Diagnostics.
Yeah, so we have developed a fingertip blood testing process called Better Way, which is capable now of producing 67 tests, so more than 80% of what's typically ordered in a primary care setting, based on a pea-sized sample of blood. And we've earned a 79 Net Promoter Score, so patients love it. And you don't need a phlebotomist, so anybody can be trained to use the system in about 2.5 hours. So it's transformational. I really believe that, which is why I've gotten heavily involved in the company. The story of the company is fascinating, and I didn't participate in a lot of it, but this company has actually been working on this technology and validating it for a decade, nearly a decade. It started as a skunkworks project at Siemens in 2015.
Really?
Because they thought they might be disrupted. And then was spun out as a private company in 2017 with Siemens as an investor and strategic partner. They hooked up with Becton Dickinson to produce the mini draw tube that we use as a component in the Better Way system, which is now FDA 510 cleared. Along the way, 45 plus IRB-approved studies, more than 4,300 study participants, more than 850,000 tests run. And this last May, in the May issue of the Journal of Applied Laboratory Medicine, peer-reviewed article based on studies that have concluded, without any question, that the results from Better Way are clinically equivalent to those from conventional methods. So it's been an incredible odyssey for Babson, but they've stuck with it, and BD and Siemens have been great partners. And we've just really, over the past year, I would say, begun to commercialize it. And so that's why I'm here.
Wow. What a journey. And now is the time.
Yeah, it's really fun to bring this technology into the mainstream of the healthcare business now. I think some people felt like it would never happen, but we've done it. And I think they appreciate the science-first rigor that the company has brought to it.
Certainly. And even here at Health, there's a section specifically called diagnostics.
Yeah, there's a lot of action in the space, probably after many years of not so much action.
Yeah.
And then the way we look at it is the blood collection and analysis process has really been in place for 7 decades without changing much. And, we're really changing it. And it's exciting. It's a challenge, too. So these things, don't happen overnight. There's tremendous infrastructure built up around conventional ways of blood testing. But my experience of, as you mentioned, of running many companies over the past 35 years is that if the patient likes it, eventually you succeed. And the patient loves it.
Oh, well, certainly. I mean, it's a lot easier way to get it done. And so what role does convenience play in preventative care, and how can healthcare organizations leverage Better Way? Convenience
is really important in healthcare. So going back into my ancient history, I founded one of the first companies that put healthcare clinics inside retail outlets called RedeFining.
Cool.
And we were in Walmart, Walgreens, H-E-B stores in Texas, Duane Reade stores, finally sold it to Rite Aid. And then I ran for 7 years a company called FastMed Urgent Care, which had 170 urgent care clinics. And so part of my approach to healthcare has always been to try to make it more convenient.
Yes.
But that's only part of the solution. You also have to make the patient experience enjoyable, or try to as much as you possibly can. And the reality is that almost nobody that I know of likes to have a needle stuck in their arm.
Yeah.
And the research says that almost a third of patients are non-adherent to testing because of either needle phobia or inconvenient locations or some combination of both. So what we're doing now, as we're having conversations with large health systems and other providers, is saying, you have all of these outpatient facilities, so you have really addressed the convenience issue. We can come in with Better Way and address sort of the needle phobia issue, if you will. Mm-hmm. And so that's why we think that it's going to be great. They're going to be great partnerships.
Yeah, no, that's fascinating. I heard that it's about 7% of spend is diagnostics or something like that.
Yeah, it's 7% of spend, but 70% of healthcare decisions are based on blood testing.
Yeah. So
and, as I mentioned, a third of patients are non-adherent to testing. So you have roughly 60 million people every year who are not getting the blood tests that they need. And so, again, the reasons primarily are either they can't get to a convenient location or they just don't want somebody to stick a needle in their arm. I'm not a person who's needle phobic necessarily, but I've never enjoyed the experience. And I think a lot of people fall into that category.
Yeah, me too. And I'm sure all of our listeners are saying yes.
It's funny. It's funny to your point, because when we obviously, along the way of talking to all these provider organizations, I do meet with individuals. I'd say probably at least a third of the individuals I talk to say they have this issue. And it happened to me today at Health. I mean, I had 7 or 8 meetings, and at least 3 or 4 of the people that I met with, when I described what we did and the whole thing about needle phobia, they were nodding their heads and going, oh yeah, that's me.
It's real. And so what makes Better Way a scalable, operationally smart solution for health organizations?
Well, first of all, if you care about the patient experience, we've discussed this, it's just a better patient experience. Secondly, you have the opportunity to acquire patients who are not getting tested today, or you're losing patients where your clinicians may order tests for them and they never get them. Mm-hmm. And so there's a big opportunity to increase patient visits and, obviously the revenue associated with them, but more importantly, to improve patient care. And then the third piece of it is staffing efficiency. So as I mentioned, you don't need to be a phlebotomist to use Better Way. So you can cross-train everybody in a clinic to use this system with about 2.5 hours of training. And we have trained now hundreds of people to be able to use Better Way. So you're not dependent as much on phlebotomists. And we're not saying that we're going to replace phlebotomy, because there are certain tests that will still need that. But in typical primary care settings, we can go a long way, certainly, to reducing dependency on them.
Well, that's great. And how is it accessed? So if I wanted to do my test at home, could I access it and do it at home?
Well, so
and send the results to my PCP? Or?
We're in early stages of commercialization, as I mentioned. But if you live in and around Austin, Texas, which is where the company is based.
Okay, you're in Austin. I'm in San Diego.
Right. Well, you can go online if you lived in Austin, and Texas is one of the, roughly half the states patients can self-order tests.
Cool.
So you can go onto our website, betterway.com, and you can look at the menu of tests, and the prices are very transparent, and you can order tests, and then you can go into your local HEB pharmacy. So HEB is the largest grocer in the state of Texas, or you can go into Sam's Clubs in Austin, and they will collect your blood using the Better Way system and send it to our lab. So that's that piece of it. But the point is now, we're not trying to go around providers. We're trying to empower providers.
Sure.
And that's a little bit different than, and I'm not saying that this is necessarily the right approach, although I believe it. We're not trying to go directly to the consumer necessarily. We're trying to bring the consumer to the provider who uses blood testing as a vehicle for understanding their health status and then deciding what the best course of action is.
Totally.
And
by the way, my question was, I didn't say it, but I had my visit with my PCP virtually, and then I could take this thing. By the way, you Austin people, how come you get all the good stuff first?
Yeah. There seems to be, there's a lot of energy in Austin.
A lot of energy, a lot of innovation. Anyway.
Yeah.
A lot of great stuff happening there. Thank you for sharing that. Just very curious. And when you're in San Diego, let us know, because I definitely want.
Yeah. We will be soon.
Yeah. Oh, awesome. Woohoo. You hear that, San Diego? We're getting it soon. So how does Better Way's approach to blood testing remove friction from the patient experience? I mean, it's obvious, right? But help us understand, and let's chat about that topic a little bit more.
Yeah. Well, there are two kinds of friction. One is, as I said, when we're partnering with healthcare organizations that have lots of outpatient facilities that are conveniently located, that are open ideally 7 days a week and have extended hours, then we're taking the convenience friction out of it. And obviously, by replacing the needle with a fingertip collection, we're replacing, that part of the friction as well. So that's the combination that we're after.
Yeah.
There are other points of friction in the process. So, for example, we've spent a lot of time designing the way the results are reported both to the clinician who orders the test as well as the patient who gets it. And so our results are graphically displayed so you can see where you are in the reference range, whether you are within it or outside of it. And the way test results are described, we explain medical terms in English that most people can understand, and we hyperlink terms, where we have to use medical terms. And so, that's a point of friction too.
That's cool.
I recently went for my theoretically annual visit, and they ran a whole bunch of tests, and I got this report, which was basically incomprehensible, even to me, and I've been in the healthcare business for a long time. And that's not empowering, because then you depend upon your provider to try to explain it to you. And maybe they do, or maybe they don't have time to do that. But there are a lot of smaller points of friction, which we're trying to take out of the process. And really, that's what it's all about. I mean, at the end of the day, as I said before, things work in healthcare if they work for patients. And that's not the only constituency that you have to satisfy, obviously, but I've found over the years that that's the most important one.
Hey, listen, 3 companies in, you have a track record of making things more convenient for people, from urgent care to seeing your doctor at your grocery. Let's make it 3 for 3, huh?
Yeah, well, I'm going to do my best, but it's also all about the team. And I mean that sincerely. That's certainly what I've learned over and over again during my career, is that, as a colleague of mine once said, as a CEO, if I'm the smartest person in the room, then we're in trouble. And it's really about, there's a great team of people at Babson who have really built this company up and created the opportunity to bring it into the mainstream of medicine. So it's really all credit to them.
Well, that's fantastic. Kudos to the team over at Babson Diagnostics. Big shout out to you from Webb, from us at Health. Definitely exciting times for the company and for healthcare. If people want to learn more, Webb, where can they find you?
Betterway.com. It's all there. And we're very transparent about all of the data. I mean, I think that's, another thing that's been part of the philosophy of the company all along. So you can see all of the data that's been acquired throughout all aspects of the validation process. It's all on our website. The prices are very transparent. You'll see all the tests that we offer. The menu, as I mentioned, is continuing to expand. So it's really a great resource for people who want to learn about Betterway. So I encourage you to go check it out.
Betterway.com. And it doesn't get any simpler than that, folks. The Better Way is here. And so I want to give a big thanks to Webb Golinkin. He's the president of Babson Diagnostics. If you check out the show notes, you'll see a summary of our discussion today, as well as links on how to get in touch with the company and more about Webb. Thank you all for tuning in. And Webb, thanks for spending time with us today.
Totally my pleasure.